The world's first computer, the Antikythera mechanism, started up 178 BC, scientists claim, but not everyone agrees. Now, you'll see some images of the Antikythera device. This is the original is held in the Archaeological Museum in Athens. I've been there. The room is blue because it was found underwater. This is a map of where it was between the Peloponnese and Crete, the island of Antikythera. And you'll see some images of very tiny inscriptions inside, letters and even images of animals. The thing is, these were instructions and various calculations of constellations passing above us and also eclipses. So obviously, in my humble opinion, in order for them to have these meticulous, very tiny letterings inside of this mechanism, they must have had microscopes. We know that the ancient Greeks had telescopes. This is one of the images inside it, very tiny, the image of a bull, and obviously this was put there by microscope. You'll see lettering later on. So not everyone agrees with the conclusion that it was started up 178 BC. The mysterious Antikythera mechanism, thought by some to be the world's first computer, first started up December 22nd, 178 BC, archaeologists now believe, discovered by sponge divers in a Roman-era shipwreck near Greece island of Antikythera in 1901. The elaborate ancient computer, which looks like a shoebox-sized contraption with gears and dials that have numerous actually, it's the size of a little bit bigger than a laptop. The elaborate ancient computer, which looks like a shoebox contraption with gears and dials that have numerous tiny inscriptions written on them. Tiny inscriptions could predict eclipses and determine when various athletic games took place, among other functions. Now, they could predict eclipses, but they also could predict when the passages of the constellations go by. Now, I asked my sons, I said, why would they want to do something like this? Why would they want to create something like this unless they had space travel? Okay, why would they want to examine the exact position of every single star relating to each other or planet in our solar system unless they were traveling? And my oldest son said, well, they had nothing better to do, Mom. I said, what, are you kidding me? You're going to go bust your brain in order to make something like this, which is useless? I said, no, I don't agree with you. I think they had space travel, just like the ancients said in Homer in the Odyssey, and even the fact that supposedly the ancient Olympian gods were Atlanteans and extraterrestrials. So this is very strange. This mechanism is very strange. And not only the eclipses, but also the constellations, and also how far one planet was from the other. I mean, that's very strange. So discovered by sponge divers, it had all these various dials and gears. Over the years, researchers have painstakingly pieced together the many fragments of the Antikythera mechanism. They still haven't done everything. They wanted to find out, of course, how it was created and how it would have been used 2,000 years ago. There are many questions plaguing the device. Who made it? Where did they live? Why create it? And what start date did it have? And now a team of scientists determined that turn-on date, detailing their findings online on the preprint database ARXIV, an online journal where research can be uploaded before peer review. But scientists not affiliated with the study cast doubt on the claim, reported the scientists that the start date was probably 204 BC. In their new paper, the researchers specify the number of reasons why they think December 22nd, 178 BC was the mechanism start date, which is the earliest date on which all calculations made on the mechanisms are based. It's sort of like the temperature absolute zero on the Kelvin scale. For one, there was a solar eclipse on that day, on one that lasted over 12 minutes. Secondly, the following day, December 23rd, was the winter solstice, an important day among many ancient peoples. They also note that the Isia festival, celebrating the Egyptian goddess Isis, was celebrated in both Greece and Egypt at the time. Additionally, the phases of the moon started December 22nd of that year, the team wrote in their paper. So this combination of events created a very rare coincidence, quote unquote, that would make for a memorable starting day, the researchers wrote. The starting date should be very characteristic, important, and easily detected. This is what Aristides Vulgaris, the lead author of the paper, he's Greek obviously, and team leader of the functional reconstruction of Antikythera mechanism, the FRAME project, said. It's possible that whoever made the Antikythera mechanism, another unresolved question with some experts suggesting Archimedes was the engineer who crafted the marvel, witnessed this day and remembered the cosmic events, but there's no way to be certain. Usually, in order to perform time calculations, it's more common to select a date from the recent past rather than one in the future, researchers wrote. Now, this is after, of course, Alexander the Great, who was around 330 BC. So anyway, just as a matter of reference, this initiation date of the Antikythera mechanism matters because it's the date in which all calculations using the mechanism would be based on. Quote, in order to use a measuring instrument, a reference point is needed before the measuring procedure, end quote, researchers wrote in their paper. Like a calendar, which needs a fixed date, such as AD 1. Whoever used the mechanism would need a starting date on which to base all calculations. The date is one of the mysteries regarding I'm thinking of what they found in the air. Okay, mechanical marvels that remains to be solved. Previous research has succeeded in deciphering many of the inscriptions and understanding what many of the gears and dials were used for. In 2021, a team of scholars announced the creation of a computer model of the mechanism that they believe is accurate. Scholars react. Reporters reached out to several scholars not affiliated with the research to get their thoughts on the team's findings. Many were not able to respond, but those who did were skeptical. Quote, it's not a paper that would withstand competent peer review, end quote, said Alexander Jones, professor of history of the exact sciences and antiquity at New York University Institute for the Study of the Ancient World. He said there are a lot of problems with it, ranging from major issues to minor ones that nevertheless are symptomatic of lack of good grounding in the broad context of ancient astronomy and science, Jones said. For instance, Jones pointed out that this start date would put Kranios, a season inscribed in the Antikythera mechanism that's associated with wine, in the month of February, which is not a particularly good month for ripe grapes, obviously, Jones said. The two papers published in 2014 showed that the starting date was 204 BC, Jones said. Those two papers showed, quote, that the eclipse prediction sequence had been computed for a unique 223 lunar month interval beginning in 204 BC, Jones said. This was timed to start on May 12, 2004 BC and start and end with a lunar eclipse. This was originally published on Live Science by Owen Jarris. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.